The Last of Us creator Neil Druckmann believes he was able to successfully recapture the moment of Abby and Joel's confrontation for HBO series. So, if you don't know, The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2 is now officially out. And the moment, the infamous moment that happens in The Last of Us 2 early on in the game, is in the show as well. Everyone was waiting to see, would they change it? People hated it so much, maybe they'll change it to try to appeal to the audiences. But nope, Neil Druckmann, he stuck with it. He said, I'm right, you're wrong, and we got Episode 2. Let's dive into this. In the opinion of The Last of Us 2 franchise creator Neil Druckmann, while most video game adaptations fail to faithfully adapt and or truly capture the emotional weight of their source material, he and HBO series showrunner Craig Mazin were able to pull off just that when it came to retelling Abby and Joel's infamous confrontation in live action. So, while most video games aren't faithful adaptations, you don't have to worry about the HBO's Last of Us, because it is a faithful adaptation. Yes, everyone hated what happened in The Last of Us 2, but at least it's faithfully adapting the plot of The Last of Us 2, right? At least that. As seen in the recently aired second episode of Season 2, Through the Valley, rather than delaying the inevitable and opening themselves up to a months-long storm of questions regarding whether or not they would actually go through with it, Druckmann and Mazin instead chose to rip the band-aid off and have Abby use Joel's head as a driving range early into the series' take on The Last of Us Part 2. There it is, the infamous golf club in live-action form. Intended by Druckmann to be one of the more emotional and shocking scenes of the PlayStation duology, while some players walked away from the game having experienced those exact feelings, more found themselves unimpressed and even outraged at what they saw as a narratively nonsensical attempt, as it asked the players to believe that despite everything, Joel had somehow either forgotten his post-apocalyptic survival skills or chosen to randomly abandon them to subvert expectations. Yeah, this is exactly what a lot of people complain about as well. Is that in order for Joel to actually get in that situation where he gets his head caved in by a golf club, he had to just be retarded for a few minutes. Joel, like this seasoned survivor veteran who doesn't trust anyone, just kind of had to turn that switch off in his head for a few minutes so he could walk into a room of strangers and get himself killed. So, yeah, shitty writing. But hey, they have to subvert your expectations somehow, and they can't write it clever. However, despite the clash of opinion among Last of Us fans, Druckmann believes that this scene's live-action recreation was wholly able to recreate the heartbreaking feeling, or at least the intended one, of the digital original. Abby prepares to sink the entire series' reputation in The Last of Us Part 2. Yeah, there it is, the infamous golf club once more again. Speaking to Entertainment Weekly's Nick Romano regarding the ins and outs of Joel's on-screen death alongside the aforementioned Mazin, Druckmann's reflection was preempted by his partner's reflection that it wasn't surprising to me when Neil talked about Joel's death when we were just starting to work on the first season. Part of what makes The Last of Us relevant to those of us who aren't living in a fungal apocalypse is that it portrays the shattering nature of loss, said the Chernobyl series creator. It talks about what is left behind when somebody is torn away from you. Then you start to wonder what price we all pay in our lives, all of us, for caring about people that much. I mean, I guess that's not really the themes of it. The theme is really revenge is bad, but okay. From there, Druckmann finds himself affirmed. So many times, adaptations don't, and you can't recapture that moment. Here, I feel so lucky that we did. I feel so lucky that we faithfully adapted the scene that made half the fans of The Last of Us completely abandon the franchise. I'm so happy that we faithfully adapted the scene that caused the video game sequel that had double the budget of the original do 1/3 the sales of the original. So happy about that. Honestly, knowing now Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, I had no doubt that we would, because I know how they act and what they throw into it. The fact that it still works just speaks to the magic of these incredible actors. Man, they are glazing on themselves. There he is. Before the infamous scene. Mexican Joel. Reflecting on that fact, unlike in the game, the live-action Abby instead preempts her killing of Joel by outright explaining her motivations to him and the audience. Mazin ultimately concluded that when it came to deciding upon this change, it's really just about imagining how angry she is and how hurt, but also how correct she is in her mind. Well, she's correct in her mind and apparently incorrect in the mind of every single fan of the franchise. What is important for her to convey is that what he did was wrong. Nope, Joel did nothing wrong. I'm going to die on this hill. Joel did nothing wrong. They tried to kidnap and kill Ellie against her, well, without consent, without Joel's consent either, for, reminder, a chance at progressing towards a cure. A chance at maybe working their way towards a cure. So no, Joel did nothing wrong. If you're a father and you just kill your daughter for a chance at a cure in a zombie apocalypse when you have nothing left, then you're not a human. You have no soul. Joel did nothing wrong. So that's my opinion on that. All right, where was I? Sorry about that. The end. Guilty. Sentenced to die. No argument, no debate, no nothing. I do love how Pedro portrayed this kind of acceptance of it there. See, that sucks. Because that just, it makes him feel like a cuck. It just makes him feel like he doesn't have agency, like all of the, because he's a force of nature, Joel. He kills like 100 people in the first game. I don't know about the show, but he is like the fucking survivor, right? He's been around. He's killed a lot of people. So for him to just accept his death like this in such like a, just like a wet fart, just, he just turns into a submissive puppy and just lets his head get caved in by a golf club. It's just not his character. They just ruin Joel. The truth is, what he did is what she's doing now. We kill for the people we love. Joel has an experience that neither Ellie nor Abby have, and we're going to explore this further in the season. And that is the experience of loving a child, which is different than being a child and loving a parent. Again, they're saying, oh, well, Joel killed Abby's parents, so it's actually the same thing now that Abby's going after Joel and killing him. Nope, it's not the same thing. Joel did nothing wrong. Fuck Abby. She's a roided out bitch. I guess she's not roided out in the show. But, yeah. Neil Druckmann, in his head, this is still like a deep story that people love, even though, well, let's look at the Rotten Tomatoes score. So this is the season 1 of The Last of Us. 87%. We're going to look at audience because the critics don't matter. They're just shills on Rotten Tomatoes. It's been known for a long time that this has been basically, you shouldn't look at the critic score. But the audience score is still useful to us. So 87% for season 1. Let's see. Episode 2 of season 2 just aired. Ooh, 54% from audiences. That is, ooh, that's rough. That is rough. That's pretty similar to what we saw happen when the game came out. So yeah, it's not surprising. People hated it in the game. People hate it in the show. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a more mainstream audience because people watch TV shows. You know, they're older. They don't play video games, but they still have the same taste, clearly. Well, Druckmann is absolutely correct. People hated it in the game and they hate it on the show. Good job. That kind of perfectly sums up this article. People hated it in the show. Or sorry, people hated it in the game and they hate it in the show. And there's not really much more to say. I mean, the damage has been done. They doubled down. They said we're going to adapt it faithfully, which for any other good video game story would be good. But The Last of Us 2 is one of the worst video game stories we've ever seen. One of the worst plots. One of the most divisive, subversive, and just kind of evil, like mean-spirited stories we've had. In the sense that, oh, the hero's actually bad, and the villain's actually good, and revenge is bad, and it's just, it's not what fans of The Last of Us liked, and it shows. And now the audience of the TV show has spoken as well, and it's done. So let me know what you think of this. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I'm a new channel, so subscriptions actually do go a very long way, and thanks for watching. Peace.